Hello everybody and welcome to Train Sim World 2. Today we are at Reading, and I know last episode I touched on the Preserve collection for the 166, but I discovered this mod and I just had to do it. So this, I can't tell you much about it. I'll link it in the description. The page that I bought it from was all in Russian. So yeah. It installs like any other mod would. You put it in the DLC file inside the TS2 prototype file inside the game files. Which is exactly the same. It's pretty much the same as how you'd install mods for Train Sim World 2020. But anyway, let's get moving. So it's a mod that also works for the 166 as well. But it's a really, really nice train. And it's a nice livery. It's not perfect, of course. But someone did it in paint, so they had a lot better tools. I also discovered, whilst I was looking for mods, I discovered a page that has other mods for the new routes in Train Sim World 2. And they only had mods for 2 trains. They had mods for the Isle of Wight, and they had mods for the Bakerloo line. And the mods that they had for the Isle of Wight most of them were just the current livery. So I felt a little bit ripped off when it's just exactly the same thing, except has a logo on it. So I'm quite proud that I've done the exact same thing in the in-game tools. But if you guys want to see a review of that, I can do a video on that. The other thing that I saw was, as I said, the 72 stock. They have the original unpainted aluminium for the Mark 1 and for the Mark 2, which I will review. I'll have a look at them. But then I was also quite disappointed when I found out that they had quite an inferior, in my view, asset inspection train. The proportions are all off. So mine was better than that, and I'm pretty happy that it was. So we're just going to do the full run from Reading to Paddington in this here, the HST. Got max throttle, so I'll just sit back, relax. So we'll have a look around the exterior of the train. So it's in the first Great Western livery. So it's got the blue. I thought of it as a sort of more purple colour, but it just doesn't look 100% correct, but it's close enough, I guess. So the front of the train looks nice. First logo down there. And then we got these, which I have to say look very nice, and the pink doors, and they've got the ATP signs as well. And it looks like from here the interior of the train has also been modelled, which is nice. The other trains, I don't think they're affected, although I do know that for sure it does work on the 166. So if there are any other mods that I am not aware of, and also they don't have to be British trains either. I will probably also do a review of some German trains. I can have a look at some of the fictional liveries as well that they have, and I can also have a look at their liveries for the American trains as well. All some pretty exciting stuff going on. We are speeding along. And I can see why these trains went. I mean, they're lovely trains, although I do have to say, I don't think this livery was right for them. It just, like this yellow front, I know they had to have a yellow front, but it seems a lot more natural that you'd have the yellow front coming up in a stripe, like this, instead of just having a banner. It just, the way it wraps around, it doesn't seem natural. And this is definitely not criticism of the Russians who made it. I'll just have to say that. This isn't a criticism of the people who made it. They were accurately replicating the livery that it was in. This is a criticism of the people who designed the livery for the real train in the real world. I don't think it fits the train. I don't think it suits, to be frank. I much prefer the other livery. But I mean, they did have to go. So, I mean, sure, they're the fastest diesel train in the world. Probably not for long though, because they just haven't been many diesel speed tests. I reckon the Class 800s, they could go faster. Hitachi build good trains. And like they have these trains, they have terrible acceleration. Like, we're already this far in to the journey and we're still not at the line speed. And I mean, like, you look at the ICE3, that's a very similar type of train to the 800s, 802s. They're not exactly the same, but they're similar era, similar design. They're both high-speed trains. They're both capable of running off electric power. The ICE3 in this game would do this in 20 minutes, purely because of the acceleration. I mean, we'd be a minute out of Reading and we'd be at line speed. And yet here we are, 7 miles in, and we're not even at line speed yet. I mean, there are other routes where they go really well. Like, I see they've been used on virtually every main line. They've been used on the Midland Main Line. They've been used on the East Coast. They've been used on the Great Western. They've been used on some of the Scottish lines. I don't think they've been used on they haven't been used on the C2C, and they haven't been used on the electrified lines, because they could run, at the time when they were designed, they could run 91s. Alright, so now we're kind of nearly at line speed. I'm gonna come 1 notch off the throttle. Now we're sitting in a comfortable 123. Should I go a bit further? I think I will. I'd like to sit at 125. 24 miles left. Maybe 4 miles out, I'll start to slow down. Screenshot. And we're holding... no, we're still accelerating a little bit. Right. Throttle 3 seems to be a little bit too much. Alright. Good. And I have to say, I really like the idea of electro-diesel trains. Because they just make them more versatile and better for the environment. Because you have an electro-diesel train, when they're under wires, they can use the wires. When they're not under wires, they don't have to. Like, that's the thing about, say, cross-country as an operator, for example. None of their lines are fully electrified, so they operate an only diesel fleet. But that doesn't mean that none of their lines are electrified. In fact, quite a lot of them are. Just in between those electrified parts, there are non-electrified parts. And so they've decided that it's a better business case to run all diesels, and they haven't got any plans to remove the 220s and 221s. I also know that Avanti, West Coast, are planning to replace their Voyagers, their 221s, with bi-mode diesel trains, so well done, Avanti. It's a good move. Also, East Midlands Railway. They're a brilliant. They're even better than Cross Country as an example, because they got electrification all the way out, or they're getting electrification all the way out to Sheffield, and they're running an all-diesel fleet. And at the moment, they've already got wires up to Bedford, I think. And so, why wouldn't you use the wires? They're available. Trains exist that have the capacity to run off wires. So why wouldn't you use them? Passing through Slough. Right, we are about halfway through. Yeah. Just sitting straight on 125. Okay. Nice. Those textures loading in almost as they're behind us. And that is one of my only critiques of this game. The textures do sometimes take a long time to load. But the textures are beautiful. Also, I think Network Rail have missed a trick. Because, for example, the Portsmouth Direct line, part of the reason why there are no high-speed services on that line is because there is electrification, but the electrification is 750 volts DC, which can't really handle higher speeds than 100 miles an hour, 160 k's. But you don't need to use the electrification. You can use diesel. And so I feel like they could repurpose some of these HSTs and put them on the southwest and southern. London to Brighton, for example. Maybe, even if it's like 110, even if it's only 110, or even just 105, but they can still go faster than the electrics. And there are plans to completely replace the third rail with 25 kilovolts AC overhead, which I think is a brilliant decision, because it provides conundrums where, I mean, classically it's been anything south of the Thames is third rail, but anything north of the Thames is overhead. So like, we're north of the Thames at the moment, right now, in this train, not in real life, and you can see we've now got overhead. Does that mean, yeah, we passed the Heathrow turnoff. But then it provokes a conundrum. If you were to electrify the whole Great Western route down to Penzance and other places like Cornwall, there are some parts where it will overlap with the third rail. And that's what I find weird. And already at Reading Station, half of it is electrified with third rail for the southwestern main line, not main line, southwestern commuter lines, and the other half is overhead. And I just find that weird. It's just, come on. Surely it wouldn't take that much effort to, I mean, admittedly it'd take a lot of manpower and it'd take a lot of political will, something that there isn't a lot of these days, but it could be done. I mean, so can more high-speed lines. They require a lot of political will. They have been done. Crossrail requires a lot of political will. Also been done. But one of the main business cases for switching to overhead, you can have faster journeys, like the Brighton main line. You could run electric trains up to 125, or if you have better signalling, possibly even further, depending on how the track conditions are. And it'd make some journeys faster, like in the centre of London. Say the Thameslink services, for example, they have to switch power supply in City Thameslink. And City Thameslink? I think it's Farringdon. Yes. They have to switch power supply in the core. And London Overground as well. Trains have to switch power supply. And here's an example. We've got a 166 here, and it's in first Great Western livery. Just saw that out of the corner of my eye, so I thought I'd point that out. So I might grab a screenshot of this if I can. Hello, can I grab a screenshot? Thank you. Okay, loading back in. Alright, we'll put initial brakes. And I have to say the brakes of this train are a lot better than the power. running on yellows. Is there a platform there? Yeah, I really like this route. It's just nice. Right, running on yellows, that would suggest that we might just be coming up to another train. Yeah, there's one leaving. Is there one going in? Any action at the depot? Don't think so. Passing Old Oak. No longer in use, as I said in the last episode. Also, I find the thing about... Although I have to say I'd like to see an update, a return to this route with a Class 800 or a Class 801? No, it's 802. I'd love to come back and see an update to it, but at the same time, I would also love to keep the route as it is. Because it is just... It's a time capsule, almost. Back in time, when HSTs were in service on this route. Back when Old Oak oh god! Speeding! Back to a time when Old Oak Common was the depot. I find it really cool. Okay. Off the brakes. Okay, may have overshot the braking there slightly, but we got the power of gravity on our side as well when we go down this grade. Also, one thing that I would really like to see in Train Sim World 2, I would love to see some north of London routes. We've only ever got north and west of London. Like, whether that be the Great Eastern Main Line, that's a lovely route, I'd love to see that. Whether it be... Oh god. Whether it be the Great Western Main Line. No, not Great Western. East Coast, that's what I meant. Whether it be the East Coast Main Line. That'd also be great. Whether it be the West Coast Main Line. That'd also be great. Whether it be the Shoebury Ness lines, C2C. That'd also be great. Whether it be the Midland Main Line. The Chiltern Main Line even. It's just that it's never happened. It's never come to Train Sim World 2. Which I find not even Train Sim World the original. They had some really up north routes, but they were really back in time. They were in like the 70s. So I don't know why that is. I mean, I'd love to drive a Class 90 or a Class 91. I would love to drive one of them in this game. Just all of their detail. It's kind of a little bit similar to this train. Okay, we'll turn AWS off. We are coming in hot. And there's another reliveried HST. Don't really mind where we stop as long as the arse of the train's in the platform. Right, now I unlock the doors. And now I might go for a little wander through the train, because I think the internal textures have changed. Right, definitely looks like they have. You've got pink candles, pink seats, different bibs on the chairs. Oh, that's collision. God, this is actually really lovely, this interior. And this standard class interior. God, whoever designed that should go back to the... I mean, whoever designed that should have the same punishment as whoever designed double lads on YouTube. They should be crucified. It's just... I don't like it. It's a disgusting, disgusting livery. But it's in the game, so I've showed it off. So, that said, hope you enjoyed this mod. If you did enjoy it and want to see more, please leave a comment suggesting what I should do next. And make sure to subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll catch you all next time.